Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Lakers need to make upgrades, and often a player who has been an All-Star for 3 times and has had a drop in performance in recent seasons, but Ben Simmons could return to his best days playing alongside Luka Doncic and James, so he is a good and cheap signing for the Lakers. Ben Simmons could leave the Clippers and come play for the Lakers to get his game back. The Los Angeles Lakers must focus this summer on bolstering a roster that fell short in the first round of the 2025 NBA playoffs. With Luka Doncic now leading the Lake Show alongside LeBron James, Lakers GM Rob Pelinka will aim to address critical roster gaps this offseason, particularly at center and in perimeter defense. One intriguing option is to pursue a veteran's minimum contract signing to add depth and versatility without breaking the bank. A potential target for such a deal is a former All-Star whose defensive prowess and playmaking could complement the Lakers' star-heavy lineup, provided he can stay healthy. The Lakers' financial situation is precarious, with approximately $189.2 million committed to 11 players for the 2025-26 season, pushing them over the projected luxury tax line of $187.9 million and approaching the projected second apron of $207.8 million. Projections per The Athletic's Danny Leroux. Key contracts include Doncic, $45.9 million, James, $52.6 million, assuming he opts in or re-signs, and Rui Hachimura, $18.2 million. With limited cap flexibility, the Lakers can likely only access the taxpayer mid-level exception or veterans minimum contracts to fill out their roster. Trading players like Gabe Vincent or Jared Vanderbilt could create room, but such moves would likely cost draft capital, a scarce resource after trades for Doncic and others. A veterans minimum deal, costing around $1.1 million against the cap for a player with 7 years of experience, offers a low-risk way to add talent. One candidate is Ben Simmons, whose defensive versatility and playmaking could address the Lakers' need for a bench facilitator and wing defender. Simmons, the number 1 overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers in 2016, was a standout early in his career, earning 3 All-Star nods and an All-NBA selection in 2021. His ability to guard multiple positions and average 7.4 assists per game made him a cornerstone for the 76ers. However, injuries and off-court challenges have derailed his career. Since his 2021 trade demand and subsequent move to the Brooklyn Nets, Simmons has played only 365 games over 7 seasons, a stark contrast to his early promise. His reluctance to shoot and injury-related absences have labeled him a disappointment despite his elite defensive and passing skills. In the 2024-25 season, Simmons signed with the LA Clippers on a veteran's minimum contract, $1.1 million, after a buyout from the Nets, where he earned $40.3 million in the final year of his 5-year, $177 million extension. In 18 games with the Clippers, Simmons averaged a modest 2.9 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 3.1 assists in 16 minutes per game, showing flashes of defensive toughness but struggling offensively, particularly in a playoff series against Denver, where he saw limited minutes. For the Lakers, signing Simmons to a veteran's minimum deal could be a gamble worth taking. His defensive fit could deepen the roster, if he can stay on the court. Top 5 center replacements for Lakers amid Jackson Hayes rumors. The Los Angeles Lakers will be looking for a center once free agency starts. Some of the targets they are looking at might be more realistic than others. Jackson Hayes simply didn't cut it this past season. When the year started, the Lakers weren't expecting to lean on him as the starter. Then, once Anthony Davis got traded, they were left with no choice. These 5 centers would be the ideal replacements for the Lakers. One of them is probably unrealistic, but the rest of them should be targets they go after. 1. Miles Turner. Miles Turner is the top center heading into free agency. He is someone the Lakers have been enamored with for quite a while, but that won't help them land him. Turner is likely going to re-sign with the Pacers once their run in the finals is over. The only hope the Lakers have of affording him is with a sign-and trade, and the Lakers don't have anything the Pacers want in return for him. 2. Nick Claxton. Claxton is someone that the Lakers could actually land in a trade. He is young enough to grow with Luka Doncic and fits the mold they are looking for in a center. The question would be whether or not Brooklyn is interested in a couple of expiring contracts, and future first-round picks would be something they would be interested in for Claxton. 3. Jarrett Allen. After losing in 5 games to the Pacers, the Cavaliers might make some trades this offseason. Jarrett Allen is a guy they could look to move as they decide to move Evan Mobley to center. Allen is one of the best rebounders in the league and can actually create his own offense. He's expensive, which is why he might not be a realistic trade target for the Lakers. But he might be available this summer. 4. Clint Capella. Capella is a free agent and fits the Lakers' win-now timeline. With the limited amount of cap space the Lakers have, signing him could be a challenge. The only shot they have to get him is a sign-and trade, which is realistic with him. Capella's lob catching and rebounding are what the Lakers like. 5. Brook Lopez. Lopez is also a free agent and might be affordable for the Lakers. The issue is that he is already 37 years old, so his effectiveness is dwindling fast. He is by far the least desirable target on this list, but he might be the only option for them depending on what happens summer. Lakers have only one untouchable player in offseason. June 11, 2025, 5:04. The LA Lakers are open to trading anyone this offseason, except for Luka Doncic, who is considered their only untouchable player. Lakers' offseason hinges on learning lessons from playoff disaster. The Los Angeles Lakers must address 2 crucial areas in the 2025 offseason. When Rob Pelinka and his front office sit down to truly examine not only their postseason run, but the NBA playoffs as a whole, there should be an obvious takeaway for the Los Angeles Lakers. That would be just how lacking they were in 2 key departments. It would actually be easy to find more than just 2 things that Los Angeles needs to fix in the 2025 offseason. Their list of priorities is long, and the overall questions about the roster are abundant as they shift to molding around Luka Doncic. Studying their own shortcomings against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round and assessing the 2 teams in the NBA Finals should make matters crystal clear for Pelinka. The Lakers will need to add plenty of depth and athleticism during the offseason. Lakers' deficiencies will weigh them down if left unfixed. The Timberwolves were able to reliably deploy, at minimum, an 8-man rotation against the Lakers in their first-round matchup. It gave them a clear and undeniable advantage against a unit that had J.J. Redick struggling to find consistent contributors. Plenty of those games would follow a very familiar script too. The Lakers would get ahead with a strong lead. The much fresher Timberwolves would erase it in the fourth quarter when Redick's group was huffing and puffing for air. The Lakers were strapped so thin that many of their key players ranked towards the top of the minutes per game averages in this year's postseason. Doncic actually leads the NBA playoffs in that category, 41.6. That is a man coming off multiple injuries in 2024-25. Looking at both the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers, who are competing for the Larry O'Brien, the value of depth and strong role players shows itself clearly. However, it's not just the depth, but the athleticism of both teams that should stand out. The Lakers had good size, which allowed them to execute a defense that often relied on switching assignments. The problem with that became obvious when the Timberwolves took advantage of the less capable defenders in that scheme, like Doncic and Austin Reeves. LeBron James still had an easily winnable argument for being the Lakers' most athletic player who saw a significant amount of playing time in the postseason. James is an athletic model, even at 40 years old, but that should paint the picture as concerningly as it may seem. Depth and athleticism are massive in the modern NBA. If the Lakers do not find a way to bolster their own during the offseason, it would not be shocking to anyone to see them meet a familiar fate in the 2026 NBA playoffs. Lakers' center problem could quickly turn into an absolute nightmare. LA needs an answer. The Los Angeles Lakers' top offseason priority is finding a starting center, but their options will be limited. There aren't quality names on the free agent market, meaning they could overpay for one on the trade market. Rob Pelinka thought he had the perfect center to pair alongside Luka Doncic in February, but the Lakers rescinded the Mark Williams trade. Los Angeles originally agreed to send its 2031 first-round pick, Dalton Knecht, and Cam Reddish to Charlotte for Williams. Since they regained that pick back, it could be used in a trade this summer, as well as its 2032 first-rounder. However, LA can't trade both of its first-round picks outright. Not only should the Lakers want to get a center to appease Luka, who will be eligible to sign an extension, but also to increase their chances of winning another title with LeBron James. He has a $52.6 million player option for next season that he's expected to exercise, but that will be determined in a few weeks. Knowing how desperate LA is for a quality center, opposing teams could reach out to the Lakers with a high price in mind. Utah is the first team that comes to mind, as Walker Kessler is a player on Los Angeles's radar. The Jazz have a new president of basketball operations, who happens to be the son of Danny Ainge. LA won't be able to pull a fast one on Utah. Lakers could be forced to overpay for a center this offseason. Los Angeles got its fair share of luck, times a million, before the deadline when it landed Luka, but that might be where the luck stops when it comes to trades. The Lakers aren't going to pull a fast one on teams like the Jazz, Nets, Nick Claxton, Cavaliers, Jarrett Allen, Jacob Poeltl, Raptors, or Jonathan Isaac, Magic. To be clear, those aren't players who will be available on the trade market this summer, but are possibilities. For many Louisiana fans, the topic of who the team should acquire continues to return to Kessler. Sarah Todd of Deseret News reported that the Jazz are expected to engage in trade conversations regarding Kessler, as well as other players. If Utah is willing to trade Kessler, the Lakers won't be the only interested team, which would drive up the 23-year-old's price. The Jazz will be fine entering the 2025-26 season with Kessler on the roster, as there is no rush, or need, to trade him. Utah won't mind playing the waiting game. Hopefully, on opening night, LA will have a quality big man starting at the 5, although it could mean losing a first-round pick and a young player like Knecht. It has technically already happened before, so at least Lakers fans will be prepared this time around if a trade does happen. Lakers must make unpopular decision to prevent disaster from striking twice. The Lakers need to make peace with an unfortunate reality. The Los Angeles Lakers are in the market for a starting caliber center who can elevate the team to true contender status. It's one of the worst-kept secrets in the NBA, as Los Angeles's glaring void at the position and past trade activity have created the inevitable expectation for a marquee move. The Lakers would be wise to make that their top priority, but they must simultaneously embrace the need for reliable depth along the way, even if that means signing an imperfect veteran. Los Angeles navigated the 2024-25 regular season with an unavoidable flaw hanging over its head. All-NBA center Anthony Davis masked the issue for most of the season, but when he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Luka Doncic, it became impossible to ignore. The Lakers' depth at center was created by an unproven talent playing on a minimum salary and a consistent dependence on the franchise's G League affiliate. Jackson Hayes did an admirable job during the regular season, but ultimately averaged a mere 7.8 minutes per game during the playoffs. The G League players whom Los Angeles relied on, Trey Jemison III and Christian Coloco, didn't play a single postseason minute. Rather than backing itself into another corner by attempting to acquire a starting center without an ideal reserve, the Lakers must be proactive in their efforts to create adequate depth. Lakers must be willing to sign an imperfect veteran for interior depth. Obvious context includes the fact that Los Angeles attempted to replace Davis with Mark Williams before a failed physical resulted in the trade being cancelled. It then signed Alex Len for veteran depth, although he played a mere 2.0 minutes per game during the playoffs. Maxi Kleber, who was acquired in the Doncic trade, made his 2024-25 debut during the playoffs, but played just 5 minutes during that time. As such, the harsh reality facing the Lakers is that, even if they were to trade for or sign a dream target at center, their backup would likely be a minimum level or even G League talent. Perhaps Kleber can play upward of 60 games for the first time since 2019-20, but Los Angeles would be wise to make peace with its current predicament instead of placing its faith in the unlikely to transpire. The best way to do that would be to sign one of the better veterans on the open market while continuing to pursue a trade that would fill the starting void. Perhaps a Steven Adams, Clint Capella, or Brook Lopez wouldn't move the needle in the way that some fans were hoping for. The alternative, however, is going through another season in which every path to improvement runs through the trade market and the G League. The available free agents may not blow Lakers fans away, but they'd certainly be upgrades over the unproven group the team forced itself to rely on in 2024-25. Even if the aforementioned veterans wouldn't be a perfect fit, they'd at least provide head coach J.J. Redick with a safety net at a position of unavoidable weakness. Their experience could be leaned on for poise and depth, much as their defensive acumen could at least address a flaw on one end of the floor. It may not be the perfect solution that fans are dreaming of, but the Lakers must ensure that their depth is superior to the G League rotation of centers they rolled out in 2024-25. Lakers receive unfortunate news after NBA trade report. The Utah Jazz are one of the worst teams in the NBA, so pretty much every player on their roster can be had for the right price. Among those players is Walker Kessler, whom the Los Angeles Lakers have had interest in as recently as the NBA trade deadline. Mark Stein reported that the Lakers tried to get him at the deadline, but the Jazz declined. The Deseret News' Sarah Todd reported LST Saturday that the Jazz will put Kessler in trade conversations. Numerous league sources have indicated that they believe the Jazz are going to be active over the next several weeks, Todd wrote. League sources have said that they expect for conversations to include Walker Kessler, who is extension eligible, and Lauri Markkanen. However, just because Kessler is available doesn't mean the Lakers will get him. The Athletic's Jovan Buha reported on Buha's block his skepticism that the Lakers will meet the Jazz's price for Kessler. I just don't know if the Lakers have the requisite assets to get Walker Kessler, but I think he's likely available for the right price, Buha said. I just think that price is very high, and I don't know if the Lakers can get to it. Kessler had an excellent third season with the Jazz, averaging 11.1 points, 12.2 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks while shooting 66.3% from the field. He'd be an excellent fit with the Lakers, but just because Kessler is in trade talks doesn't mean they will trade him the first chance they get.